Okay, as in go? Sorry, 1 second.
Forktales, a podcast that feeds the food and beverage world.
Oh, awesome. Forktales is brought to you by Vigor, a branding and marketing agency for passion-driven, innovative restaurant, beverage, and hospitality brands. Learn more at vigorbranding.com. If you love what we're serving up, please give Forktales a 5-star review on your podcast service of choice. Think of it as a tip for good service. Everyone, today I am joined by longtime friend and client, Melvin Delacerda, who is the president and CEO of Johnny's Pizza House. Melvin, say hello, give a little bit of backstory.
Good morning, Joseph. Good to see you, my friend. My name is Melvin Delacerda. I have started working with the Johnny's Pizza House in high school, and I just last month turned 60 years old, so that gives you an indication of how long I've been with this company. Started in high school just because that's where all of my buddies were working. Had no intention of it turning into a career, but I hit it at the right time, and the company proved to be a good place to work, and I enjoyed it, enjoyed the people, enjoyed the restaurant industry. And so, like I said, it's all these years later, I'm still here with Johnny's Pizza. Started out at the very bottom, of course. I was only 16 years old, so I was bussing tables and cutting up meat and shredding cheese and just all the things you do in a restaurant. And worked my way up. Eventually, got into the area of human resources with the company, and eventually moved on up into the position I'm in now.
Nice. Yeah, and I think your journey is not dissimilar from a lot of other folks in the organization, if I recall. So for those who are not familiar with Johnny's Pizza House, it is a multi-unit brand out of based in West Monroe, Louisiana, which is the northwest of the state, technically, correct? Or kind of north central-ish.
Northeast, yeah.
Yep. And then, but it's all across the north, mostly the northern part of Louisiana. You've gotten down into Baton Rouge, but haven't quite cracked into New Orleans, which is obviously what most people would be familiar with Louisiana.
Right.
Can you describe the service model and basically how it's worked compared to like some of the other major pizza chains?
Well, Johnny started this company back in 1967. So we're coming up on our 55th anniversary. And when he first started the company in Monroe, Louisiana, which is across the river from where our headquarters is, it was probably, I think, the second pizza place in the whole area. So needless to say, when he started, he had to introduce people to pizza. They literally did not know what pizza was. He had learned the craft going to school in Iowa, where he went to college, and brought it down here, and was originally was making it for his friends and at the poker game and that sort of thing. And they encouraged him to, you need to do this for the public. So starting out, like I said, Johnny had to sell other things, the hamburgers, and he had a grill. So, and then at the same time, he offered the pizza and introduced it to the people. Needless to say, as a result of that, I think his brand and his company became very emotionally a part of the people here in North Louisiana. We're probably third or fourth generation of customers now, and so needless to say, we have a strong hold on this part of the country, and I mean it's something that you can't replicate. Pizza's everywhere now, so you can't go into an area and become the first pizza place and steal people's hearts that way. So when we go into new markets now, we have to compete with the big boys, and there's a lot of good pizza out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but still, we offer pretty much the same thing that a lot of them do. We have in-store dining. We have a buffet at most of our locations, delivery, of course, pick up and take out. Yeah, we pretty much follow the suit with a lot of the bigger known, better known companies out there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because these for most of the locations, from what I recall, are actually pretty large footprints, and it seems to me that the brand never really latched on to the delivery first or delivery only model, like a not McDonald's, like a Domino's, even Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut shed their internal dining, their interior dining, a while back and opted for a more delivery first approach. And of course, Papa John's. Was there a strategy or reason to keep that gathering place, instead of going full on delivery mode?
Well, that was kind of how Johnny built it. He was a hometown boy here, and he wanted to bring people together and give them an atmosphere that they felt comfortable in. One of the things that he did early on was got involved in youth sports. Baseball during the spring here in Louisiana is a big thing, and so I would challenge you to try to find a baseball field here that doesn't have a Johnny's Pizza House sign on it. He got involved in that. He actually, whenever video recording first came about, he bought a couple of these VCR cameras and recorders and went out and filmed the boys playing ball and then handed out little pamphlets to let them know that, hey, come to the pizza house tonight and you can watch yourself play ball on TV. And back then that was a novel thing. And so sure enough, people, brought their ball teams in, and, it created this family atmosphere. We have birthday parties, people have showers, um, all kinds of reasons to gather. And so I think that's the main reason that we kept this model, and it's been very successful for us.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure the listeners are probably thinking, like, how did that model? How did you manage to keep it going during a pandemic when doors closed and gathering became more of a, I guess, danger in some people's eyes, right? Like getting
Mhm.
close to other folks. Same thing with buffets. Like how has the business worked through that, pivoted, or just did you guys just hunker down and weather the storm?
Well, of course, it started in early 2020, and when it first hit, and we knew, our state had pretty much shut down indoor dining completely, and we were like everybody else. We didn't know what the future held. We, we shut down, got rid of all excess spending. Started hanging on to cash, thinking that, hey, we're going to have a rough go ahead of us. And we did for about the first week. And what we found out, though, was because all these other restaurants were being shut down completely, pizza restaurants and other types of restaurants that had already had it part of their model to deliver, had it their model to for pickup orders.
Mhm.
We were in a perfect position to service the customers, to service the public. And so what we saw was the opposite of what we expected. We saw an increase in sales, and primarily because of the lack of competition with all these other restaurants shutting down. We couldn't do indoor dining anymore. Nobody could.
Mhm.
So all of our buffets were shut down. It was strictly pickup and delivery, and of course the menu was cut back a little bit because we no longer could have a salad bar. But we, it turned out for the best for us. And of course, you've seen in the trade journals, a lot of other companies similar to us, felt, they had experienced the same type of business during that time.
Yeah. And you guys also have another feature that not a lot of pizza places have had in the past, which is a pickup window. Was
Correct.
that part of that saving grace? Was that part of the one of the things that really kept you guys thriving?
It certainly was, and that's something that when we first started, and for years and years, we didn't have pickup windows. Everybody thinks of it as a drive-through, which pizza, it takes close to 20 minutes from the time you order it to the time you receive it. So It just, our business can't operate a traditional drive-through like a
Hmm.
McDonald's or those type places. But what we found was that if, we advertise it as a pickup window, and people love it. I mean, we would not open a location now without one. And there's people that we know that go out of their way to come to one of our restaurants that has a pickup window. And we've
Hmm.
got them in every restaurant that we can put them in. We've got a few restaurants that are landlocked and we can't get the lane around the
Sure.
building. But if we can put it in there, it's in there. And it proved to be a great reason for the success we had during the pandemic and ongoing with.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, just the thinking about the patrons who really love Johnny's, frequent Johnny's a lot, and brands like that. Whether it was realized at the time or not, it really does hit a category use occasion, which is I have a car full of kids. We're not going to be eating in. We need to take this and go. Maybe it's to the ball field. Maybe the pizza's
Mhm.
brought there. Getting all those kids out, basically corralling the kittens, as it were, is a lot of work. This kind of saves that time, saves that heartache and that difficult scenario, and it's quite brilliant. I think a couple other brands have started to adopt it actually, where they have a pickup window now, which I laughed when I saw. I was like, man, Johnny's been doing that forever. Um, so that's good. But let's get back to your journey because it is a journey that I think a number of folks within the organization have had, if I recall, and that is first job was at Johnny's, or at least early in the career was Johnny's, and then you have stuck with it. What do you think contributed to that? What kept you there, and then what made you come back?
Well, I think a lot of it, especially us old timers that have started back in the '70s, um, it was primarily working with our founder, Johnny Huntsman, founded the company, and he is or was one of the most charismatic people that you would want to meet. He was great with people. He originally was a coach. He went to school on a football scholarship, like I said, up in Iowa.
Hmm.
Came back and coached some football here at the local high school. So he was good with people. He knew how to treat people, and he created this atmosphere, this family of it was just fun working there. As we all grew up and we learned the lessons of business and how to run restaurants, we it was just I know it's cliche to say, but it was just one big happy family. And of course, as families have, we've had our differences and butted heads before, but still, though, it's a familiarity that we all enjoy, and I think it's led to the success of us personally and the company.
Yeah. How do you keep that going? I think when we think about the labor shortages right now, and a lot of small brands, large brands, startups, single unit, 900 unit, it's really hard to have that sense of family fostered.
Mhm.
Is there a secret in the sauce, as it were?
We train our management. We give them as much human relations training as we can, and one of the things that we try to impress on them is that people don't leave companies; they leave people. They leave managers.
Mm.
And so we try to recreate that same family atmosphere that we grew up with. And we train, like I said, we train our people to do that, and not give them a reason to look other places. And we've done what just about all other food companies have done. We've had to raise the entry uh, wage for employees. Uh, I think everybody has done that, but there's no doubt that they don't stay just for the money. So
Right.
we create that try to create that atmosphere. Now, another thing, and this is a big part of our company, and it's also a big reason to love Johnny Huntsman was when he got ready to start pulling away from the company. He didn't like the idea of selling it to a bigger company because he knew that they would come in and cut people. They wouldn't duplicate their services, and we were the people that had made him successful, and he
Hmm.
had a personal interest in seeing for the well-being of us. So we created what's known as an employee stock ownership plan. This is a regulated plan. The Department of Labor, the IRS, they're heavily involved in this, so it's not a fluke.
Right.
And so basically, the employees would start owning part of the company. And he started in the year 2000 is when this thing was started. And in December of 2018, the employees owned 100% of our company, and that's where we stand today. This company is owned by the employees. So that, I think, also has a lot to do with people hanging around. They're part owners. I mean, why not stay and work hard and see your stock increase and
Yeah.
go toward your retirement.
Yeah, and so for those who are listening and haven't heard the term before, for the sake of time, sanity, the employee stock ownership plan, we'll call it ESOP from now on. So that march to ESOP was 18 years. That's a long time. What was the reason for the length? Is that standard? And how intricate was it to shift this privately held company into a not only publicly held but employee held company?
Yeah. Well, it does take a little bit of time because what happens, the owner, in this case, it started with Johnny. He sold 30% of his stock to the ESOP. And so the ESOP was just created, it didn't have any funding, didn't have any money to pay for that stock. So what we did was the company borrowed the money from a bank, and then the earnings of the company went into the ESOP to pay off the loan. I know it's getting into, don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that, but it takes a little while, to make the money to start paying off that amount. And
Sure.
once we paid off the first loan, we bought a second chunk of his stock, and then it went like that. And we had at the time we had three other outside shareholders. So once we bought Johnny's stock, we started buying their stock as well. So it just took time, and ESOPs, it's pretty typical that it would take this amount of time. Some ESOPs are never become 100% employee
Mm,
owned. It doesn't have to be, but that was the goal of Johnny when he started this thing. He wanted this company to be passed on to its employees, and it's like I said, it's proven to be very successful. It worked out for him. He got
sure.
what he needed out of the company, and it certainly is working out for the employees.
That's great. I mean, I love that you touched on a couple things, whether you know it or not. Uh, the narrative around the labor shortage, specifically in the restaurant industry, it's definitely bled into other ones, is that of money and compensation. And while that is one of the facets, I think you touched on it quite well, that it's not the only facet. So you have folks out there that are stumping for a federal minimum wage hike, which, to be completely honest, I think is I want to use the word insane, but I think it's very undetailed to the detriment of the industry. Me, what I'm getting by that is $15 an hour in Los Angeles County. It's not going to get you very far. It's not enough. $15 in South Arkansas, you're living pretty well, and there's just too much difference across. So, while I may stump for not a federal minimum wage and keeping it at the state level or even local level, that's only one part of it. And I think if I've heard correctly, a lot of what has been the magic of Johnny's in the '70s, but also even today, is a feeling of cooperation, of shared mutual interest. That ESOP has taken away the "I'm working for the man," as it probably was said back in the '70s and '80s. I'm working for a fat cat that is just raking in the cash on my hard labor. So it's actually just completely disarmed that. And with that in mind, what does the say of the employee? How much does that affect decisions? I guess what I'm getting at, is it a true democracy, a la ancient Greece, where everybody gathers and then everyone has a voice, or is it maybe more of a representative republic like we have in the United States today, where the managers speak on behalf of the people? How does that even play out, if you're willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a republic. I mean, you think about it, you couldn't take the 900 different people that work for our company on any given day and have them vote on some of these decisions that need to be made in the company, and especially some of the higher level decisions. we're running a business. I mean, it's a
Sure.
multi-million dollar business, and you don't just let anybody make the decisions. And so we actually have a fiduciary responsibility to run this company uh, at the with these participants in mind. We're supposed to make decisions and run this company for their benefit, and that's how the thing is set up. There's a trustee that overlooks everything that we do. They actually are the ones that control the stock on behalf of the employees. And
Hmm.
so most things, there are some limited situations where the participants, the employees, would vote on something. But the day-to-day stuff, as far as electing, who's going to be the president and who's going to be the officers of the company to run this thing, that's mainly handled by the trustee, and it works well. If I don't do my job to the extent that the trustee believes that I'm doing a good job, well, they find somebody else to do it. And so the trustee also has that fiduciary responsibility. These are personal responsibilities too. So everybody that's involved takes it seriously, and we work again, for the benefit of these employees, these participants in the plan.
Yeah, so it seems like it's very similar to answering to a board,
Hmm.
except the board just happens to be not up top, but actually I hate to say it, but down below. It's amongst the people. The people are the board, um, and you're certainly not any less scrutinized than a president of a company that answers to a board would be,
Right.
if I'm reading it correctly.
Yeah.
Um, Excellent. So there are some other things that I think make Johnny's unique outside of that, and that is even down to the product level. It seems like the product is considered through the eyes of gathering and sharing and bringing people together. I'm kind of throwing this one up for you, but talk about how you cut your pizza. Because for me, when I first encountered Johnny's, I was like, they do what now? So explain
Yeah.
how it's cut and why it's cut that way.
Well, and I guess again, this must have come from up in Iowa where Johnny first learned how to do pizza. But it's not cut in the traditional pie shape. It's cut horizontally. It's cut one time in the middle and then sectioned off so each piece is slender. It's 2 inches. Each piece is 2 inches wide, and the length of whatever size pizza you have. So it's it's not completely unique, but you find very few other pizza places that would cut their pizza like this.
Yeah, it's kind of along the lines of if you order a cheese sticks from one of the other guys.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things that struck me about it, I don't know if it's look, I'm a purist. I was raised in the Northeast, so I have the way I want my pizza cut. However, with this, it almost feels less like a where am I going with this? Kind of like I could probably eat half the pizza and not feel guilty. Whereas if I eat half of a pizza of like a New York style pizza, I'm
Mhm.
kind of questioning my life decisions. Um, so it's very snackable almost in a good
Mhm.
way, and I think that's what definitely struck me about it. Yeah. So from there, there's a lot of other choices that have been made. The way you apply meat to the pizza, uncooked, so the juices kind of get in there, as well as like chopping of veggies. I think all these things culminate to a better product overall and a better end result. How have you fought against the fiscal desire for a cheaper path and holding on to some of those things that matter most, like the quality of product, the quality of ingredient, I should say?
That's ingrained, at least in the current administration with this company. Uh, we were taught directly by Johnny, and that was one thing that was off limits as far as trying to do anything that would hurt the quality of the pizza, and that's part of our fabric. I mean that we hold that to be one of those absolute things. You do not hurt quality.
Mm.
And we have passed that on just as he's passed that on to us. We have passed that on to the next generation. I don't think anybody in this next generation would do anything to hurt the quality. Now, years down the road, who knows what could happen? But if we do our job right, and the next group does their job right and passes on those beliefs, the core beliefs of this company, I don't think we'll ever do anything to change it. We understand that, and we use 100% real mozzarella cheese, and the cheese price, as you know, fluctuates tremendously. It's kind of at a high level right now, but it would be real easy to use some blended imitation, but that
Hmm.
would never happen. I mean, it's you. I think that's short term thinking. You might make a little bit more money for a month or two, but long term, I think it would kill the company. So,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm here, that there's not going to be a reduction in the quality of our products. And one thing you mentioned, and this is maybe a little bit unique for pizza places, we do use raw hamburger and raw sausage on our product. So and it changes. It's a different flavor than pre-cooked meats, and it makes a big difference in the flavoring of our pizza.
Yeah, it really does. I can attest to that firsthand. I definitely miss getting out there and having some of the pizza because we don't have it around here. Speaking of that, like let's talk about expansion plans. So the brand currently sits at 48, 50 units. Where are we at?
We've got a total of 44.
44.
Yeah,
44.
35 corporate and 9 franchise locations.
Great. And so what's the expansion plans? Like, I mean, what are your sights set on? Are you looking to get into other states? Is it about reinforcing your stronghold in Louisiana? What does that future look like for the brand?
Well, we're planning on expanding, and we would have expanded. Last year, we opened up one new location, and we're looking on the corporate side of going into some new markets.
Nice.
On the franchise side, we got 2 locations now that are under construction that should open the first half of this year, within the next quarter, probably. Um, the thing right now that's holding us back is just this situation with COVID.
Right.
We had trouble getting management people hired and trained. The staff that we had, it really stressed them out, because we were operating shorthanded a lot of times. Um, but they hung around. I mean, one thing that I've noticed about our company is we have not cut our hours. We have not had to close.
Mm,
So, and there's a lot of companies out there that are doing that. So, we feel good about it. However, it is a strain, and we're kind of waiting for this labor crisis to ease up a little bit, and then we'll get back into our expansion.
I
We
like
want
it.
to try to grow slowly, from the nucleus that we have here, not get too far away from our market, and just kind of grow out that way. And franchising, like I said, we're in Mississippi already. We got another location about to open in Mississippi. We kind of let South Louisiana go franchising, and then we got a second one right outside of New Orleans in a little town
Mm.
called Laplace, Louisiana, that's about to get open. So we are expanding. We're expanding slow. We just feel like that's the best way to do it, to try to ensure that quality stays in our product and in our service.
Yeah, it seems like you're in a unique position where you're not beholden to. I mean, you're not beholden to people who are hungry for the numbers. It's more hungry for the longevity. The numbers will come, and it seems like that's a different perspective, which is
Yeah.
benefiting the brand very well. Um, so this might be the hardest question of all. If you had one final meal on this plane, what would it be? Where would it be? And why that meal?
Well, it'd have to be a Johnny's Pizza, wouldn't it? Yeah. We have one of our products, our probably our specialty pizza is called a Sweep the Kitchen. And that was a name that Johnny came up with when he opened up his very first location. And it of course has everything on the pizza, and that's my personal favorite. It's a lot of people's personal favorites, and that would probably be the meal I would order, I would think.
With anchovies or without?
I can do either way. I usually eat it without because the people around me don't care for anchovies, but I don't mind them. I have acquired that taste.
I love it. Well, hey, thank you for taking the time out to talk to us about this. I think it's really insightful. Where can people find Johnny's Pizza House and connect with you?
Okay, well, you go to our website. It's Johnny's, JohnnySPH.com, and that's our website. If you want to send me an email, my email address is Melvin at Johnny'sPH.com. That's Melvin at Johnny'sPH.com.
Wonderful. This has been great. Thank you for sharing everything, and it's always great to talk to you.
Great to see you again, Joseph. Look forward to seeing you in person.
If you love what we've served up, please follow us at Vigor Branding on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Medium. Forktales is produced by the team at Vigor. Audio and video post-productions provided by Zencaster. Music performed by Jet Trash and licensed through musicbed.com. Joseph handles his own hair, makeup, and stunts. Copyright 2003 to 2021, Vigor Graphic Design LLC, all rights reserved.